and welcome to A Cup of Conversation on BRT2 TV. My name is John, I'm your host, and in the studio today I have two friends. One, an old friend, she's been on the programme many times.
Mind the old.
Mind the old. Old as in the number of years we've known each other. Marion Stuart is here. And a new friend that I met just about a minute ago, or an hour ago, let's say the most, and he is Ismail Hassan, or Issy Hassan, and we're going to be talking about a new online magazine, newspaper, info, really wonderful, really new venture that I think everyone will be hopping on the bandwagon soon. But if you haven't heard about it, Cyprian News is the hottest thing on the internet at the moment, and both of these people are linked to Cyprian News, so we'll find out more about this venture. And first of all, guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, normally I say ladies first, but I'm going to start with Issy first because Issy's a new friend. So, Issy, or Ismail Hassan, is that your name, yeah?
That's my name, yes.
Now, you're like me, a London Turkish Cypriot.
Yes.
Were you born there or born here?
No, I was born in London, 1956.
So you've given your age away now already in the first
You're going to get that out of me.
Let's
get it out.
You don't know your age, you look very young.
It's out in the open now, so...
Okay, what part of London are you from?
Well, originally born Hackney area, but grew up mostly North London, through Tottenham, Wood Green, Enfield, that kind of area.
Cypriot territory.
And what was your...
Yes, that's right.
So you're growing up in North London, and here you are now in North Cyprus. How long have you been here in North Cyprus?
Well, as a family, we've always come to Cyprus, in the old days as well, pre-74. I retired actually just over a year ago from the NHS, and I found myself here. I had a holiday home and decided to make it permanent.
What were you doing on the NHS?
I worked in forensic mental health.
No, wow.
Yeah.
In a secure unit.
You're not going to believe this, but I have a degree in biology, and my favourite subject was forensics. And I always thought of myself, when I was a young, innocent lad, I always thought I'd be a forensic scientist, but it never happened. But anyway, very interesting. So you retired.
Yes.
And you're back here on the island now, permanently, I suppose.
As permanent as it can be, yes.
As it can be.
Yeah.
And you're living in Saint-Tropez.
I'm in Saint-Tropez.
Lovely area.
It is lovely. We've got nice views, we have nice weather. When you want a little bit of a breeze, as the name suggests, it's really nice up there, yes.
Very nice, very nice. And we have to mention, I know that you've got a great family. I met one of your sons right now, and have you got two sons?
I've got three sons. One's in the UK, I've got a daughter in the UK as well. Two of my sons are here. And
one of the sons who's here, both are teachers, but one of them is the famous boxer.
Yes.
Sugar.
Yeah, Sugar. He's making waves, let's say, in the boxing world here. He wants to turn into a professional boxer for the TRNC. And he's working very hard at it. And he's got a few people backing him. He's got a professional coach with him, Mehmet Pasha, and they work very hard. Hopefully soon he'll have a fight, and we'll see what happens from there.
Fantastic. Well, wish him the best from everyone here at Baidak.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll do very well. One day we might even have him in the studios, who knows?
That would be really good for him.
That would be good. Yeah. Excellent. Well, we'll talk about Cyprian News in a minute, but let's introduce, and she's got her cup in her hand, always black coffee for Marion, always ready and prepared for my programmes.
No, Marion, it's not that I need caffeine for you, but I don't drink alcohol, you see, so I've got to have a fix.
Well, enjoy your coffee whilst chatting with us.
I will, but I'll put it down.
Of course, Marion, we know Marion. She's a lovely lady, living on the island for many years. She's written for many publications, and she is known by probably everyone in the expat world, and probably most people in the Turkish Cypriot community as well. But
yeah,
Marion,
nice.
It's good to have you back in the studio. It's a long time since you were here.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's got to be your fault, not mine.
I haven't been kind enough to you to invite you back sooner.
No, I shouldn't go off you.
But you've been very busy. I know you were recently in the UK, and then you went to Australia a few months back.
Yep.
So, you have been very busy, haven't you?
Oh, not so busy that I couldn't have come to see you, but we have had lunch together, haven't we? So I can't complain. Yeah.
Can't complain. But Marion, you've been a teacher, I know that is one of your biggest things, your passions. I know you like music, you love drama, and writing is something that you enjoy as well.
I do.
And so you're back here with your writer's hat on, I suppose, this programme.
Yes, I am. I thought it had been put away for good. I mean, I always say to people that writing here, and I've written in Australia and UK, but here I seem to have the anti-Midas touch because everything that I write for dies. So beware.
This is being warned.
It was nice to be asked whether I would consider contributing to this new venture that is so new. I'm not even quite sure what the pathway is yet, but we'll find it.
Well, I'm sure that we'll all learn together. We're going to find out more. Now, unfortunately, your partner in crime in this venture, Mehmet Ghazi, could not be here with us today.
No.
But tell us a bit about what you and Mehmet decided to do. What is Cyprian News all about, Issy? How did it happen?
Well, Mehmet and I met quite by accident. I started a Facebook group for my son, for his boxing. Mm-hmm. And one night as I was just sitting there and my eyes were closing because I was so tired of what I was doing and my fingers stayed on the I was using the phone at the time.
Yeah.
And whatever I did, I woke up the next morning, I tried to get into the site and I couldn't do it. And it totally baffled me.
Of course, he's an IT expert, isn't he?
He is, yes. Yeah. But it wasn't anything to do with him. What I'd actually done was somehow I'd added him as an admin into the group and removed myself. and it all happened in my sleep. I knew nothing about it. So after days of getting in touch with him, like, please, can you swap this over? You're the only person who can do it. He decided that he would help me out. So we bonded from there on, and we started another Facebook group called Cypriot Truth. Again, similar to what we're doing with the newspaper, and it's just trying to bring people together. Because there are a lot of groups out there, and they're all so separate. They're all over the place basically, and you've got all the different factions, and you've got those that are supported more by Greek-speaking Cypriots, and you've got those supported more by Turkish-speaking Cypriots. And when they do get into together, there's usually hot debates, let's say.
Yes, verbal fisticuffs.
Yes. So we decided to try and get all these people together. And Cyprian News became an extension of that, really. We thought, look, where can we take this so that we can take all the sources and put them into one place so that people can just go, right, I need to know what's happening today, especially in Cyprus, look in Cyprian News and pick up whatever they want to look at.
Yeah.
We do include other news items as well, but it's mainly, not basically, but it's mainly based on what's happening in and around Cyprus. Not the local news, more of what's happening internationally.
Right. So let's go back a little bit. So Mehmet Ghazi was added on as admin, and you got yourself off this page that you set up for your son.
Yes.
But is Mehmet a relative, a friend of yours? I mean, was he close?
I didn't know him.
You didn't know him?
No, didn't know him from Adam, can I say? I
didn't
really
know him from Adam, you there.
No. We'd only known each other's names from other Facebook groups, pages.
So you had never met before in real life?
Never.
All of a sudden, as you were sleeping, you know, your fingers just pressed. It was fake, though, wasn't it? Really?
You could say that. Yes.
Kismet, as they say in Turkish.
You could say that. Yes.
Yeah.
So things have developed. I mean, he has his own work to do. Where he's over in Iskele, near Famagusta. He has his own work to do there, and we do this kind of it's more of a hobby-based thing, really. Yeah. And me being retired, I don't have very much to do with my time, so it keeps me occupied as well. Yeah. And as you know, when you get to our age, we start to have the need to keep our minds ticking over, as it were. Right. So, and this is helping.
This is helping wards off Alzheimer's. Yeah, yes. Supposed to.
Yeah. Okay, so Marion, where do you fit into all this this jigsaw of Cyprian News? How did you get to be linked
Well,
with...
I suddenly had a one-liner from Mehmet via Facebook, something about "you write, don't you?" You know, it's really. And I sort of wrote back and said, "Yes," and it sort of went on from there. I sort of then said, "Well, what can I do to help?" Because I'm a great supporter of all things to do with Cyprus, and particularly the north, which is our homeland. And I was more or less told anything you want, which doesn't quite give me guidelines, but I'm happy to be sort of take up the roving reporter bit, which is how you get known. That's the only reason people know me so well, because I was everywhere all the time, and then staying up all night to write it up. So I sort of see not the same intensity as I was in the past when I got money for doing it, but just things that are more of bigger interest, as you say, not the local news, the sort of 60th birthday party type stuff, but anything that is more, more encouraging on life here, such as the charities and what is done on a charitable level, and maybe some of the sports organisations, not just boxing, but looking forward to doing another article on sugar, which I've done in the past. So we'll just see how it unfolds. And for me, of course, the winter is a bit of a low, boring period. So like Izzy, I'm glad to have a challenge of something worthwhile to do. Except I'm out and about and he's sitting at home killing the computer.
Yes.
So out and about, so does it mean you'll be roving reporting again?
Hopefully so. I'm really waiting to be told more specifically, although I've got some ideas that I will sort out soon, I hope.
I think we're quite happy to have people like Marion on board to write quite freely about anything they believe will be of great interest. And we do have a few other people writing, and we have contributions from some of the other groups, Unite Cyprus Now, for example. They contribute. So again, within the scheme of what we're trying to do is really get all these people together in one place, rather than having it fragmented.
Yeah.
Which is awful, because some people, if they want to read news from the Cyprus Mail, for example, they have to go to Cyprus Mail, they have to go to Gündem or Kübrüz and what have you.
Yeah.
We're just trying to amalgamate it, gel it a little bit.
Yeah.
And the advantage is, of course, that people can sometimes see news items from either side in the same place.
Yes. Yeah, Cyprus Mail has some very interesting articles that, and there's some very good unbiased writers on that side of the island, which is very interesting. And it is good if all you've got to do is flick or push one button instead of, opening up umpteen pages on the web.
Yeah.
But what is really clever is the fact that nearly everything from Cyprian News gets mentioned on Cyprus Truth. So you've got on Facebook, almost a double whammy, so people don't miss out on things that are worth reading.
We do have a Facebook page as well, and it all gets posted on there too. And it's also on Twitter.
Right.
So we are picking up a lot of readership at the moment. It's increasing every day. Figures-wise, we don't want to bore people with figures. On average, we've been going about 3 weeks. I think we started on the Friday the 13th as well,
of October,
which I kind of advised Mehmet against, but he's no, I'm going to do it. So
mind you, Friday the 13th is good, wasn't it? Friday the 13th, Denktash had his funeral, a January date, not October, but Friday the 13th, is quite an auspicious day, really.
Yeah. Good day.
It was a good day for us, because that's when we began. But we kind of went into it really in the deep end.
Yeah.
And It's only been going 3 weeks, I think.
About that, yeah.
And we're already averaging between 2,000 to 3,000 individual visitors every single day.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it surprised us as well.
How new you are, yeah.
And
it just shows the interest, doesn't it?
And people are actually reading more than, well, they're not coming to read this an article and going, they're spending time looking at other
Can you
news,
see that
which is the idea.
Can you?
Yes,
you can tell what
the software gives you all the data. So it's showing us that the people are looking at maybe 2 or 3 pages each before they leave. So they're looking at more than one story.
Which is good.
So we're linking in with people locally where, for example, they put on their own Facebook page or their own websites where they will advertise, let's say the weekend's football, and which particular TV channels are showing it or streaming it, and what the kick-off times are. So we were including all of that as well, and we're with their permission, and then we link in everything back to their websites. So if anyone wants to find out anything more, they can always go back. So we are quite surprised at how well it's doing at the moment, but it's actually what we wanted.
Yes, it's fantastic. I mean, you're still very much in nappies in a sense, so
in a sense, yes.
Someone so young to attract such attention is good.
But neither of us are journalists. Mehmet's I know he won't mind me saying this, I think he's a bit of a geek when it comes to computer stuff, and he does have an internet company. I won't plug it here by naming it, but he is heavily involved in technology. Whereas if we were a couple of guys who had an idea, we would have started this project. We would have had to employ somebody to set the software up, because it's not just plug and go.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to script it and get right into it and bring out what you want, as it were. And he's very good at it.
That's good.
And sometimes I wake up in the morning and he's changed it all. You know, he just totally changes it all and improves it. I'm not saying there's anything bad, but he always working on improving it aesthetically, news-wise, what we're putting in, you know, where we're putting it.
So how many hours a day are you spending on it? And how many hours do you think Mehmet's spending on it?
I'm spending a bit less than Mehmet, I must admit, because I have to do a bit of travelling as well at the moment. But if I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'd probably be on it most of the day. I'm on it till about 11 at night anyway, but I do take long breaks between. It's not continuous.
Yeah.
However, he's amalgamating it again with his company there. So he's in his office and he's doing that, and he's doing the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's important to get news out quite quickly. We receive press releases.
Yeah, you have to do it straight away.
Yeah, so getting the press release is very important, and you need to get that news out there straight away.
That's one thing I was going to ask you. You know, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because when you're out and about, I mean, for instance, everyone knew Marion, and of course people then used to call Marion or send emails to her saying, you know, come to this function or this event. And of course that's the main thing here in North Cyprus, lots of charity events or social, cultural events. Are now people getting used to emailing or sending information to Cyprian News to get the news out there? Have you already got your feelers out there?
Yes, we have. Like I said, there are several people that are writing for us, not just in North Cyprus, but from the south as well. And we have writers over there as well who contribute. And some of the things that are written are very, very interesting. And some of it's history, a lot of it's cultural.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's very informative. Even I'm learning a lot through doing this, information that I never knew. So we get emails, contributions, we get emails from sources, government sources, press releases from Washington, the UK, political parties in the UK, the Liberal Democrats seem to be very keen. They send us absolutely everything, but it's all good stuff.
That's good.
We get information from the Public Information Office here in North Cyprus, and we get it from the south as well. So it all comes together. We check through it. We use whatever we feel we can use. We don't use all of it, and you probably end up with we get something like 200 emails every day, and that takes a bit of time to sift through it as well.
Yeah.
And then we pick up stories that we think will be of interest from other sources. So again, we will look at what the other online newspapers are doing, and then we'll reference it to them and credit to them and link it back to them as well.
Very interesting. I want to ask you something, Marion, about your experience in writing in journalism. Obviously, you've written for both, physical papers that we will buy at the markets, and also for online. Do you think that the direction that we are going in now is more online than to actually going into the market? I mean, like Issy said, we want, people are, you want to get all these hits. People are online. You don't want to go to all these different sites and get different things. One site with all the news there. Do you think this is what's happening now? People are more interested in just getting
well,
the news
there
at
is,
their fingertips.
because for quite some time now, people like my husband and others will read the Telegraph, the Daily, nearly said Mail online, and various other news. And of course, you can get BBC News, Sky News, and everything else news. And less people are buying paper versions. In fact, several years ago now, I belonged to the National Union of Journalists, and there was a big outcry because so many papers were closing down, journalists were out of work, and not everybody can instantly find work online.
Yeah.
But that's just the way of life. It's like when a coal mine closes down or a steelworks closes down, it always affects somebody. But I think that the way of the world is, yes, it's online, it's the comfort of your own home. You haven't got to go out in the rain and buy a newspaper. And of course, the other thing is that it's instant. If you get the news first and get it online, then you become the popular paper. Yeah. And by the time you end up getting the newspaper at the end of the day or the end of the week, it's then history.
Yeah.
But after all news is history when you've read it.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's right. I have to say that, especially on social media, things like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, you get breaking news.
Yeah.
When the accident happens, unfortunately, within minutes, the accident is on.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get a video and then you share it with somebody else, and it
goes
very
viral.
quickly goes. Yes, absolutely.
So you've
got to be there.
Does it make it easier or more difficult for you to report things? Are you more, oh my God, I now have to go back and write this and put it online straight away to get, the scoop?
Well, the other wonderful thing is, of course, if you take your computer around with you,
laptop,
instant, and I mean the wonderful things with cameras, you can immediately put that online, and you can do a quick article, but you can't do anything in depth. You've got to wait till you get home. Sometimes you need a bit of extra research to back up the stories, get the facts of the stories.
That's true. That's very true. But the software as well now allows us, if we're out and about, just to use our smartphone. You can take a picture, write a few words on it, and we can publish it straight away. Then you can add the details in much later. The data we get tells us that about 60% of our users are using it via the mobile phone, via their smartphone.
Yeah. Oh, you can even find that as well.
Yeah, it tells us.
That's good detail.
And the others are on their computers, basically. But
I think also the point about moving with the times. I know some people of my generation, our generation, almost our generation, that don't have computers. They're not technophobes at all, and they will go out and buy their paper. But as people get older and die off, the younger generation up and coming won't be bothered with the old-fashioned things because everything has to be done yesterday. It's go, 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 go. And sad to say, I think that newspapers will become a thing of the past, but magazines may well linger on.
Yeah. I think maybe in North Cyprus, I mean, you know, we do have a couple of weekly publications in English here, and the fact that maybe it's local and it's such a small community, you know, you've got your picture in the paper, that's a nice thing. I mean, it's there to keep and, you know, to physically to share. Obviously, yes, on the internet you can share, again, online photographs or online
the internet,
news, but
you haven't got your television programs and your crossword puzzle. And I mean, Alan and I used to like buying papers, whatever they were, if they got a good crossword puzzle, and we'd sit and do them. And a lot of people do that as well. It's not the same doing it online, although you can.
But there are pros and cons of both, you know, having online papers and not. But I think, as you said, technology, as it's developing now with smartphones and the way that we can just instantly get news as and when it happens, literally, it's very important. So,
but can I just talk here? The smartphones. I was forced to buy a very expensive phone earlier in the year, and I'm still finding out what it actually does. And I was telling you earlier, and I'm constantly amazed. I learnt to teach computers in UK, but it's moved on so fast. And I'm amazed at my little Google. I can talk to Google. I can sit in a corner and say, phone Jan, and then it won't give me the right number because I need to phone Can.
I'm down there as Can.
When I was very, very young, teenager, and went to night school, I said, one day we'll have a typewriter we can talk to. And I was told, rubbish, rubbish. And we have a typewriter we can talk to now. It's called Google. Well, where's it going to go beyond that? You know, what is your son, for instance, going to find the world is when he's an adult?
We don't know, do we? I mean, it's going by so quickly, developing so fast. At the moment, we don't know what's going to happen. We're going to start sending rockets to space with our mobile phones soon, I think.
Well, as long as you don't send it in my direction, that's all right, thank you.
Don't worry, you're safe in Malatya, my dear.
Thank you.
Now, Izzy, so your partnership with Mehmet is virtual friendship now, because he's in Iskele, you're in Esentepe.
But we have actually met a few times.
You have met a few times?
Yes.
So how does it work for you? I mean, okay, aside from keeping you busy because you're now retired and it's good to keep your mind active and to have something to do, what benefits do you see for yourself? I mean, maybe somebody might say, well, you know, let's get some money out of this and get advertising. I mean, or is it just something that you want to do as a pleasure for you, sharing news about your homeland, connecting with other people? I mean, what personal pleasure do you get out of doing this?
Well, my upbringing, my background, from my father, he was a community leader back in the 60s and the 70s. He was the chairman of the Cyprus-Turkish Association, and he worked endlessly for Cyprus in those days, charity, all the aid you could imagine, personal, collecting. He developed things like Turkish schools, cinemas, Turkish cinemas over there. He even arranged for the first chartered passenger plane to come from Heathrow to the old Nicosia airport in 1968. He was very well known. Well, he's still alive. I'm saying very well known. He is well known.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of like, look what this man's always done. He's given a lot of his time for Cyprus. And our generation growing up in the UK, a lot of us didn't do that. Yes, when I was younger, I used to help him out. I used to show people where to sit in the cinema with a torch and every Sunday and watch all those old Turkish romance films. All the same story basically.
Poor girl, rich boy, or rich girl, poor boy.
Yeah, and the forbidden love.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
So would you say that you're really community-minded because it's been passed on from your dad?
Yes and no. Over here I've wanted to get involved in some sort of project where I might be able to give something something back. It's not about money or financial reward at all. Although if it does happen, that it would be welcome.
Yeah.
But it's self-funded at the moment. But there's a little thing that comes into your any website you build through these software. The software you can buy is like AdSense, and that starts after a while to start adding a few adverts in, and so on. And if people click on them, it puts something like 0.001 cent or something like that. So it would take you like 10 years to make 100 quid, basically, in that sense. So it's not about, it's really not about making money. It's really an idea that was born out of Cyprian, trying to get people to come to one place. Because the beauty of it again is if most of the people viewing it are using smartphones, they just want to go onto that site and then move through it and see what news they want to see there, rather than have to go to an individual newspaper, remember what it's called, and go off and so on and so forth.
Can I ask you a question at this point? Because I've kind of passed this way before with another online paper, which, okay, was a weekly, but burnout happened. The guy running it just couldn't sustain the input. Do you think you'll have the stamina to carry on at the same pace as you have for the last 3 weeks, ad infinitum?
Yes, Mehmet's really good at staying up all night.
I was asking you, not Mehmet.
Good old Mehmet. As long as Mehmet's around.
Well, I'll rephrase that. Do you think both of you will have the stamina?
I do what we can. We also have a third member. Her name's Sue. Sue Cosway, Zehade Cosway, and she grew up in Famagusta, and she lives in Cumbria now, and she does her bit from the UK as well. So while Mehmet and I are looking, Mehmet looks at all the Cypriot stuff. Yeah. I tend to look at the unusual things. Yeah. And I dabble in what the UN is saying and doing at the moment as well. And Sue tries to pick up a lot of the UK news that might be relevant to us or have an effect on us over here on this island. Right. So we do have a third member, so it's not just the two of us. And because the UK are 2 hours behind us, we changed times as well, so because they're 2 hours behind us, she has an extra few hours in the evening, so when we retire, she's still going. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so it works that way, and we are building and getting more people on board. Like Marion. Like Marion. Marion's great because we sometimes tend to fall back on Marion for her advice and expertise in the field. I wrote a piece not long ago, and straight to Marion, and we are trying to write ourselves as well. Yeah. And I wrote a small article and sent it off to Marion. What do you think? And it came back sort of like red mark. See me later. No.
That's not that. I'm not a teacher.
See teacher after class.
That kind of thing. But
Cyprus is too small a place to upset people. You have to be kind.
But that's the idea. Yeah. Because we neither of us, Mehmet, I myself, or Sue, none of us are journalists. We're not writers. Yeah. Are you looking for other people to contribute? Would you be welcoming to others who would like to maybe, I don't know, give you some other information? Yes. Historical or geography or nature?
Sometimes it's good to have the information and then write the article. Years ago, a lovely old man I knew used to say to me, so you want to write, is it readable? Is it readable? And other teachers would say you've got to grab them with your first sentence. So there is a sort of pattern in writing. If you want to keep your readers, so they say boring, or didn't know what that was about till I was halfway through. And the last thing you want is to lose readers. You want to gain readers. Yeah, so of course. I mean, I'm not perfect by a long, long chalk, but I've had some good teachers along the way.
So you could
say how
share
to
that
write for
Yes.
papers, as opposed to writing a book or.
Well, it sounds very interesting. So, for those who have just joined us on the interview and who want to find out more, what do we do? I mean, is it easier to go to the website or to the Facebook page? How would you like people to contact you or to follow you?
Any way they want to.
Yeah.
They can message us through the website. They can message us through Facebook or Twitter. We've had we had a gentleman message us yesterday. Would you like me to write something for you? And he's a writer. He writes other things as well, and he wants to contribute. And that's just great. I mean, we have a lady who's writing. Elisa's her name, and she's actually writing for us on a regular basis as well. And she wrote a piece just a few weeks ago of her visit from the south to Couplejah, for example. And information that came from her is how the people there are originated from Pontiac, in Pontiac, Greek. They speak the Greek language.
Yeah.
Now, I've been to Couplejah hundreds of times, I would say, but I didn't actually know that.
Well, you probably don't stop and speak to anyone. One's normally passing through. Or...
Well, yes, and she's just gone up to the village, and she was quite surprised that people spoke to her in the language she speaks. So, and she wrote a lovely piece about it, and a lot of people didn't actually know this.
So maybe a lot of the human interest stories, those type of articles where you got the human touch stories about locations, people, places, they're quite interesting. I mean, I'm sure they get a lot of hits.
Yes.
The things that we don't know about, not just the normal, as you said, like the normal news about what's going on the island, but something different.
It's not just about the news that's making headlines worldwide
or the
or
talks
on the island, or the talks,
or politics or anything like that.
or the failure, or the blame game, which happens quite a lot.
It's not a game that's worth playing anyway.
So we do put these other things in there, which are of great interest, and they really are. They do pull in the readers, and they become like a series. We have another one called the Village with No Name, and the guy is Turkish Cypriot guy. He writes for us, and it's very, very funny. And it's like he's recounting his life story in a way, and all his experiences. But it is very interesting to read about other people's life stories. It really is.
What is also interesting, I think, is getting some of the true representations of history from, as you say, the people who've lived it, or the background history. I mean, you've got Ismail Veli in London, who writes about the Regina, and he's come up with things that nobody would have known, but they're absolutely fascinating. And I'm sure that just about every village and town in this place has got lots more in its history that none of us know about. That we need somebody to do the research. That's right.
Somebody linked to the village and go back into the archives.
Where do you want me to start?
Well, Ismail Veli does actually do a lot of research.
I know. I've met him.
You have to, otherwise you get shut down in flames.
And you have people like Eren Erdogan, Frozen Cypriots group. They play a very big part in all of this. They do, and they're kind of like our inspiration, if you like, to continue doing that and reaching a wider audience. This
is really fascinating because I have met the people that you're talking about. I've met Ismail Veli, I've met Eren Erdogan, and they're all wonderful people like yourselves as well, who have this sort of love for Cyprus. And even though they're not here, Ismail's in the UK, Eren's in Australia. That connection is still there. And I think we all feel it. Whether we are happy with the island or how it's going, or whether we're not, we still want to be part of the islands. And I think people who are far away are more into, what's going on, what's happening back in the island.
Yeah, they have a huge nostalgia that drives them.
You probably can see which people are, where people are who are hitting on your site.
Yes, we can, yes.
And you probably have a lot of people maybe outside of the island.
Yes, most of our hits, I would say only just most, are from the UK. We do have a lot in Cyprus as well.
What about Australia? Because you've got loads of Cypriots in Australia.
Yes, Australia's slightly behind there. We are getting a lot of hits from the USA, and surprisingly enough, in Russia.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, that is very.
Well, we do have a lot of Russians here as well now.
Yes.
I should have to tell my Aussie friends to get online.
Yeah, we'd have to make a direct contact with them, because the software again translates any page. You can open any page you like, and I think he's put over 100. We've got about 100 languages on there, and if you can work your way through the Google aspect of it, of translating, and you can get a gist of what's actually being presented to you.
As long as it's better than Bing.
Yes.
Well, I want to say, guys, it's been very interesting, this couple of conversation with you guys from Cyprian News, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you.
It's a shame that Mehmet couldn't be with us today, but he's probably working very, very hard at the moment, updating the site as we speak.
Yes.
But I look forward to reading more online. I look forward to seeing how this develops. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I think you're doing a great job in promoting all that is important about Cyprus.
Yes.
Whether it's good or bad, we have to take the good with the bad, and the bad with the good. But I think what you're doing is an excellent job, and you're doing it for the love of, the country, and because really, it keeps everyone occupied. You're giving a job to people like Marion, who loves to share news and loves to be active. So thank you for that.
As well, but coffee will
and
do.
I wish you all the best. Send my regards to Mehmet.
I will do. Thank you.
Who's got the same surname as me, Mehmet Ghazi. I don't know if we're related, but anyway, we'll have to work that one out.
I bet you are. If you
there are lots of Ghazis.
I know, it's a Smith-Brown sort of thing.
Yeah, a bit like a Brown surname or a Smith. But Marion, thank you for joining us today as well. Good luck with your new venture now, and I hope to read more of your articles on Cyprian News.
Well, when he gets the whip out, I'll get going.
Yeah. We better get working now as you leave the studio.
Yes.
Online with your phone, with your new phone.
Oh, I can't do that. I've got to have a proper keyboard.
Back onto the laptop then.
This is the first story for you here as well.
Oh, don't worry. I have it in mind.
Yes.
So for the best stories, for the latest news, go to Cyprian News online and of course on social media. Issy and Marion, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, my special little friend.
See you soon.
The world does know, doesn't it, that I'm Big M and he's 007.5.
Yes, M and 007.5, a great team, but a great team for Cyprian News as well. With that, we wish you all a great week, and don't forget, join me same time, same place next week here in the studios of BRTK. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.